And
that
we're
would
live,
actually
dude.
be.
Sweet.
Hey, gang.
James Hesky,
We're
welcome to
just
Dabney.
listening.
Ah, man, it is so good to finally be on. I am very excited. Big
Man,
fan.
I can't believe we have the Heskiest Man Alive with us, man. Look at him
Unbelievable.
in his glory.
Oh boy, my dad is so pissed he lost that title to me.
It's only a matter of time, dude. You want every generation, you want your son to be Heskier than you were.
Yeah, it's like it is.
James, is that a police hat on top of the shelf behind you?
No, it is. It is two airplane neck pillows stacked on top of each.
One for each cheek.
You just walk around with them.
Even though, like, I naturally have my own neck pillow, like, sort of built in, just with my neck fat.
That's my
like that's.
That's my sleep apnea cock ring.
I just collect them. Some people like shot glasses, other people, little things around. I collect neck pillows.
James, do you wear two at the same time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I go all out.
And just act like you're getting carted off on the NFL field.
Who's that player? Brian Cox? Yeah, I'm the Brian Cox of sleeping on planes. Just drooling on people, snoring.
James always takes a wheelchair off of the plane, but never enters one. You know what I mean? Enters with one, sorry.
Yeah, I always order like 13 little bottles of Jack Daniels whenever they come through.
Dude, speaking
I
of,
just get real fucked up.
When you were just milling around your room before we started, did I hear you tell someone to take a shower and a Klonopin? Is that real?
Yeah, but it was it was something that happened. It was a work thing. So
is that a HIPAA violation?
No, I mean it was. I can't tell you who I talked to. So.
You're not going to be able to practice retarded medicine anymore. They're going to take your license away.
I mean it was something. It was something that had already happened, and so I was talking somebody through a difficult time because here's the thing. So all these guys are cooped up in their homes. So I work with guys who like live with their families. They're not in group homes. So, but so they're dealing with all like the family stress stuff. So I'm getting calls from these guys, and like that I'm talking them through some of their problems, where like they're just dealing with it was like regular family stress shit.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, so it sounds like you went through all the stuff you already know how to do.
Am I allowed to legally clarify that these are retarded adult men?
Those aren't the terms we use, but
so so then it's not even legal territory anymore. That's just what it is.
yeah.
And also, we're podcasting from international waters right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So all rules go out the window.
They're not arresting anybody for anything right now, so we can say whatever we want.
Right. So
man,
yeah,
but yeah, I wish someone would just call me and be like, Tim, listen, take a Klonopin in a shower. I'd be like, dude, finally.
Yeah. For the record, I didn't tell him what to take. It was something he'd already taken.
Was it a party Klonopin, or does he have a prescription?
I can't talk about people's prescriptions, but I never tell anybody to take anything that's not,
He sounds like a real party animal. He's a retarded animal.
Those are the it'd be great. I mean, like the most fun is going to like the social events with these guys. Like they just let loose, and they're like I'm like, I go, because every party I go to, I have fun for 4 minutes in between the time that I'm like buzzed enough to start loosening up and get too drunk to make an ass out and start making an ass out of myself. And they just show up and they're like, so we're gonna start having fun.
Man. All right, two questions. First off,
I'm angry.
Who wants to masturbate? And two, who let the dogs out?
every party.
Kick it, DJ.
Every party I ever go to, it always feels like the end of a feel good movie where like the credits should be rolling. You're like, this is it. We did it, guys. Like this is
just by nature of them not, accidentally burning down the house, jerking off on the way in.
And I'm just looking around like, we did it,
man.
That's it.
Do you
dude, I actually...
Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Tim, I was about to say, I actually quit a summer camp about a decade ago for special dudes because of a party that got out of hand in the gym. The music was blasting and I was not paying attention. And a gentleman came up behind me and mushed his fucking bird into my butt and grabbed onto my shoulders and started dancing with me. And everybody like thought it was the funniest fucking shit ever, which it was. But I was super embarrassed and I didn't go back to work the next day. So that's my origin story.
That's why
I inherited his super strength.
You just got dry humped into your special power.
Now every time like a retarded dude humps a normal person, they have the threat of Mike over their shoulder, just like he's retarded Batman basically. He's like, listen to me. While you're out here humping weirdos, you got to worry about tell your friends about me.
Alfred is my Hesky. Lays my clothes out for me every day. He gets all my gear ready. Anytime I had a bad day with the Joker, had a bad day with the Joker, and Hesky's like, look, man, just take a Klonopin, eat a popsicle, go to bed, wake up. Tomorrow's another day at Wayne Enterprises.
Oh my! You know how like every once in a while they'll do like a weird Batman story. It's like, here's if Batman was poor or like he never put on the suit. It'd be so funny if someone did like an Elseworlds Batman where like he's the only one who sees him as Batman. Everyone else just thinks he's a guy that Hesky's like taking care of. Like Alfred's. Sure, okay, Batman. No. It's time to go to bed.
Which is like also 90% of the days I go to work, I come back and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that what is actually happening is everybody is tricking me into thinking that I'm the one working, and I'm just like, this is just like a ruse.
They're Truman showing you.
Yeah, they're absolutely. Yeah, there's
Dude,
no way.
Shutter Island.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude, at like one of your ultrasounds, they told you, remind me, they're like, Mrs. Hesky, listen, there's some complications with your fetus. We have some options. Number one, termination. Number two, we've got a Truman Show where we can convince him that there are retarded people, but he's taking care. He's a shepherd for retarded people.
Man, if they're Truman showing me, then the amount of times that they're just like, well, he's masturbating again. Like, we're gonna have to just like turn the camera away. Truman Show after dark, because he won't stop jerking off.
The entire city's like, he gave us the signal. James is like, no, he just likes to see the light. He just likes to turn it on.
Yeah, just every Sunday from noon to 4 p.m. is Truman Show after dark. Just me laying in my bed, just grunting.
After a certain age, they're just like, I don't think we have any Truman Show before dark anymore. It's all after dark. Whenever he's not jerking off, he's doing cocaine in a bathroom.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be enjoying any of it at all, but he won't stop jerking off. It's really difficult to watch, but it is the number one show on television.
He did have fun at that one function where he humped his counselor from behind.
Gave that guy Mike Powers.
Dude, this might be enough to bring back Spike TV.
I do feel like we have a cultural lacuna where Spike TV was. You know what I mean? Like they were pretty corny, and they almost bought a TV show one time from a couple of us. But now that we don't have like, at one point weren't they doing like trampoline basketball? And it's just like,
oh yeah, slam ball.
Yeah, wasn't that Spike TV?
Yeah, I think so.
And like, I think they picked up maximum exposure at one point.
How did nobody's ACL just explode?
Well, I mean, those dudes were all on borrowed limbs. That was all it was. People losing limbs and playing not real sports. And once they went away, dude, now it's all, representation this, diversity that. Yeah. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, ESPN had the X Games and Spike TV had the ex-boyfriend games.
Mike, with your audio delay, I got to tell you, when you hit it's hitting hard because it's like pause and then jams it in.
Well, that makes me feel good for sounding like a fucking dickhead, dude. Because I ordered that Ethernet cable, I think like on Monday, and then it was supposed to come yesterday, and then I got a message saying it's delayed till Tuesday. So another 3 days to be sounding like I'm on meth.
It's like you have a speech impediment and a cocaine problem.
Man, I can't tell you how much more I would be enjoying quarantine life if deliveries weren't so fucked up, man.
And James, to that point, my show would be called Stutter Island.
Dude, it's
But
working.
Tim, I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy. Tim, what did you say again?
It's just if the deliveries weren't so fucked up, this would be the best. This would be the fucking best, man. I almost tanked the entire night. Number one, I thought I was going to come in cranky because I ordered sandwiches going on 4 hours ago, and they never showed up. And they're the best sandwiches, and I wanted them so bad, but apparently the fucking app, the delivery app, is all fucked up, and I just never got them. And I got to tell you, man, it took the wind out of my sails. It delayed the cast. I almost canceled. I was like, Mike, I'm not going to be able to give you the best of me tonight. I can't go on.
Oh no.
But then I tied my laces tight as fuck, and we got in here.
Made it work, dude. And Tim, for the record, when you say like the deliveries are so fucked up that what was your exact wording again?
I don't remember.
I don't either, man.
Don't ask me to ever remember anything. You know better.
I'm sorry, man.
I don't like when mom and dad fight.
If the deliveries weren't so fucked up, this would be the best.
This would be the fucking best.
Which sounds like something a failed OBGYN would say. Man, it took me forever to get there.
Dude.
God damn it.
You are throwing heat early, bro.
Man.
Yeah, just playing very hard.
It's starting to get to me, buddy. Like it's so hard for me not to be in a room with you.
Yeah. Man, can you imagine if the three of us were in a room together right now? Just farting.
Just
so many
fart storm.
farts.
Taking Klonopin, having a nice shower.
Obstacles.
Those are all, the best thing about my job is basically getting to like tell people to do all the things I would like to be able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man. Would you just take a nap already? And you're like, God damn it. I wish I could. Jesus.
Look, either you take a shit or you beat off right now. But enough.
Oh man, dude. Last week I told you, James. I don't know if I told you about this, but Mike, last week I told you that I spent the morning playing video games on the internet on mushrooms. Right on last Friday, best day of my life.
Yeah.
So the day after, and I don't know if I filled you guys in on any of this, but the night after that, the Saturday night following, I was like, I had mushrooms left over. I had more than the first time I took them left over. And I was like, man, I was chasing the dragon. I was like, I basically went on a mushroom bender. I spent the entire weekend just boomed out of my goddamn mind. And and I learned a valuable lesson. I don't know. Are we ready for are we ready for a lifelong lesson right now?
Yeah, hit us with it,
let's do
man.
it.
I don't want to
Let's
get
do
too
it.
heavy too fast. Are we even
Go for it.
recording? Are we live? All right. So the lesson I learned last Saturday in the best weekend of my entire life was that I will never ever ever mix mushrooms and Blue Chew again. And if you know me in real life or if we're related, now would be the best time of in the history of this podcast. Right now would be the best time for you to stop listening to this and reconsider everything. So Saturday night I had all those mushrooms left, and I had enough to split with my wife, and I was like, all right, we're going to put the kids down. And dude, quarantine's driving us crazy. We all got space madness. We live in a tiny row home. We in a terrible neighborhood.
Better Benoit.
What's that?
You said put the kids down. Better Benoit.
It feels like Benoit some days. So yeah, we live in a war zone. We can't go outside. It's tiny in here. We're all in the same room all day. I'm working a lot of the time. It's stressful. Thank goodness we love each other. Otherwise, this would be a real murder suicide. So, so I Saturday night we put the kids down, and we finish off the mushrooms. I slam down a Blue Chew, and like all the weed gummies I have left. And I was trying to replicate what I've heard heroin is like, and I think I got pretty close. I think we got pretty close. I made Mary Jo.
Now, did Hesky call you on the phone and tell you to take this?
Yeah. It's the first thing I thought of when I heard him saying.
All right, take your Blue Chew.
Yeah. Dude, mushrooms are the best.
Those are for Sunday from Blue Chews for Sunday from 12 to 4 for Butterly After Dark.
Hesky's Truman Show producers in his ear. Get him off those. Get him off those. Yeah, mushrooms are the best and Blue Chews are the best, but I will never mix them. Kids are asleep. Within the first hour, I made Mary Jo laugh so hard that she pissed 3 pairs of pants. Full on pissed 3 pairs of pants. She doesn't probably think that's funny. I shouldn't tell her that part. But she pisses through her pants. And then I was like, I'm gonna find the perfect YouTube video to zone out on the couch.
Was she wearing? Wait, was she wearing?
Not at the same time.
Or I'm just imagining like she's like she keeps peeing, like putting on a new pair of pants, but like hasn't stopped peeing yet.
No, she was wearing 3 pairs of pants, and that was how much. Was this a quantity or how?
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. I set out to find the perfect YouTube video to zoom out on, and I nailed it. I put on if anyone's on mushrooms right now, I put on a YouTube video. It was an album by the band Anamanaguchi called like Endless Fantasy or something like that, and they basically make like, I don't know, weird Nintendo rock music, and it was one of those things where it's the entire album and the only thing on the screen is just the graphic of like the album cover, and it was like this weird, I don't know, girl holding like a glowing cube, and I was determined. I was like, I'm gonna lose my mind staring at this cube, and I did, and it was the best. And then Mary Jo came downstairs. She was afraid of mushrooms. I was like, this is the best. Check it out. And she calmed down and she fell into the groove, dude. It was, perfect. I don't know how long that went on. Probably close to an hour, and then obviously coitus, and that's going crazy. That's like
you fucked the cube.
I don't know of like an interesting way to talk about any of that, but it was the good stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's turning into like an all night thing until we hear a car accident. We're in the living room, by the way. We hear a car accident in front of the house, and then just screaming. And it goes from like, just ignore that, to like maybe 10 minutes. We're like, all right, probably gonna have to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
So we're both standing completely naked, peeking out of the blackout. Actually, the curtains behind me. We're peeking through them. And what we see is 2 cars full of, one car was full of Latina strippers, and they were screaming at another party. I don't know where they came from. And this was just as the cops showed up.
It's actually, Tim, that's referred to as a Puerto Rican clam car.
So the cops showed up, and they're not arresting anybody. They will not arrest anybody in Philadelphia. You can't get arrested for a crime. I think they probably gave them a ticket for crashing cars or something like that. Yeah. But they also couldn't force these people to leave. So they wanted to stay and hash it out. And what I ended up seeing was that when they realized that they weren't going to be arrested, so now they're like, I can finally pop off to the cops and to my enemies. It looked like a Dragon Ball. Like they went into their final forms. They went into their final Puerto Rican stripper forms, and they were like pounding on cars and screaming at each other and shoving cops. And there was like 10 cops. They just brought more cops in to just like have bodies everywhere,
just to make a circle. And to make sure that like the bets were nicely organized. Like nobody was getting cheated.
That's Dragon Ball C. Tim, at any point, like when you first started hearing the car crash screams, at any point did you think that you were just really busting out the cheeks that good?
Yeah. Oh, dude. First of all, it's like it's probably just not a nothing that I'm hallucinating to be something in my head, dude. Yeah. Don't worry. And I'm like reassuring her. I'm like, shh, it's nothing. So
That's so much better because here at 7:00 we just clap for the medical professionals. You guys have this, you do
nah,
so
dude,
much better.
Down here we clap cheeks for the medical professionals.
You guys just are getting,
Dude.
sending Puerto Rican strippers out. You guys are fucking nailing it. You guys are doing so much better in Philly.
And nurse goes outside in her scrubs. All I hear is like dunk 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 dunk. It was all right. So
they've earned it
because of COVID. They're not arresting anybody. But I posted a video of it on Twitter, and they were wrestling. They're wrestling with these hookers or strippers for like 45 straight minutes. So it was like at that point, it's just like just put them in a car. You've transferred fluids at that point.
Yeah.
And again, I'm 1,000,000% hard. This is the hardest I've ever been in my entire life. But I start worrying, and this goes back to when the lockdown first started in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. You couldn't buy a gun anywhere. Like there was lines down the street to buy guns. I'm not a gun guy, but I was like, gun might be a good idea, being that we live in a crazy neighborhood. There's no guarantee of safety anywhere already, and now that the cops aren't going to arrest anybody and people are going to be like desperate, what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hyping myself up. I'm like, I might have to defend my family during a riot right now. It's about to go down. So I wish I would have stayed naked, but I threw on a pair of red track pants, and it's just, dude, I'm going through them. I'm going through, like standing directly behind me, leaning over that shelf, and I'm still at the point where like I'm either gonna fight or we're gonna fuck in this window and watch these cops kill these. We're gonna shoot these strippers. So on the one hand, I'm like, this would be the best beginning of like my Mad Max story if I went outside just hard as fuck and just started throwing haymakers into a crowd. I mean, if I died there, that's it. That's all I want.
Or if like you and Mary Jo start going at it and you both find out like that's your thing. And like
James, I got to tell you, I think I found out it was my thing.
It's going to be so hard to. Well, maybe in your neighborhood it won't be that hard to reproduce.
Dude, so I'm just
like,
yeah.
I'm just like, oh boy, you're going to be chasing that dragon, but no, you're not. Like I just like cool, like twice a week.
So I'm shadow boxing my. What the fuck? Did you hear that? God damn it!
No.
Are you hearing like phantom Puerto Rican cop fights now?
No, but I'm getting sound effects. What the fuck is this?
Oh.
I'm getting a call from Yes. What the? As long as you can't hear it. Nope, you can hear it. It's coming through in the audio. Fuck, dude. Anyway, I start shadow boxing in my living room to get my blood pumping because I don't want to go in there and like burn myself out. I was like, all right. I'm ready. If they start just like breaking shit and smashing cars, I'm ready to go. This boner will not go down, and I don't want it to. I'm like, I want to keep this. I have no. I didn't consult Mary Jo on this. I don't know if she lost, the magic or whatever. But I was like, we're gonna get through this, and then it's back. It's all about pussy tonight. We're getting right back to it.
You did. Yeah. You come back at like a guy in just track pants with a gigantic boner who's getting ready to fight a whole bunch of Puerto Rican strippers. What's hotter than that?
Bro. I mean, you just got me a little bit. You just made my bird do hiccups.
Yeah.
Tim, Tim, this sounds like a great time to read a Blue Chew ad.
Yeah.
So this episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door in a discreet package. You just have to be careful that you don't get in the way of any cops fighting Puerto Rican strippers.
Yeah, that is it was in the fine print. It said avoid any kind of large-scale conflict between a dozen or so Puerto Rican strippers and most of the Philadelphia Police Department. So they're sorting it out, and I could tell that it's starting to die down. So I'm like, it's crazy how quickly your brain goes from like apocalypse for your family and loved ones to, all right, am I still going to get this nut? It felt like it never left. I was like, oh man, during that entire worry that I was gonna have to fight for my family's lives, I was also kind of like, I hope I still come, dude. I would give anything to still come. Bird's
Dude,
still hard as fuck.
Dude, how great would it be if I'm sorry, Tim. I was just going to say, like, how great would it be if the cops ended up joining forces with the Puerto Rican mommies to form the Thick Blue Line?
Mike, you're officially playing too much.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, boy, oh boy. Mommy Vice.
So are you still backed up?
There it is. Oh.
Well, I wish
NYPR Blue.
Blue Chew, bro. Dude, the Thick Blue Chew line. There we go.
There it is.
Yes, we got there. Yeah, I ended up not having to fight anybody, and the story has, I mean, a happy ending, as happy as can be. As the cops were leaving, and I'm kind of like, I'm transitioning back to like, all right, I better get this thing inside of something right now. Because it feels like it's going to launch off of my body, by the way. If that, I don't know how else to describe it. It feels, the Blue Chew, I'm an enthusiast at this point. It makes your boner feel like the carnival game where you slam the mallet down and it goes ding. It makes your bird feel like the ding until you're done with it.
You take one of those things, dude. You feel like a wet gremlin. You just need to pop off.
Wet Gremlin's definitely my gas station boner pill brand.
I gotta try this for Truman Show After Dark.
You gotta take it after midnight.
But yeah, just go to town on myself, treat myself for just a lovely session of like, well, I guess I'm not doing anything today,
dude.
James, that's what I use it for primarily.
just forearm strengthening.
It's a good treat yourself kind of day.
Yeah, just not doing it. Yeah, just working out, just trying to create some tendonitis.
Man, fuck. So I see it winding down, and the cops are all starting to go back to their cars, and I have a moment where I think like half of the cops were in pairs and getting back in their cars, and some of the other cops got back in their cars by themselves. And I know that they were pretty close to using weapons, at least like tasers, if not shooting these people, just because of how out of control they were. And
tasers, batons, dollar bills.
So I was like, this was the biggest threat to my nut the entire night. Was I turned to Mary Jo fully shroomed out of my mind, and I'm just like, man, what do you think it's like getting back in one of those cars by yourself when it was like you just almost fought for your life? You just almost had to kill somebody, and then you just gotta get in your fucking stinky patrol car and then drive around for 4 more hours. That's got to be pretty crazy. And we both just kind of stood there like, yeah. And then I just slowly looked down, and I was like, I'm sorry, that time's up. We gotta get back to coming. I'm so sorry.
But you're also like, maybe getting your hands on some Puerto Rican strippers, so you're also like, gotta find a time to like run, like is there a place where cops can go to?
Well, James,
yeah,
as a person with experience, you're not allowed to put hands on them.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be so cool if, like,
watching them trying to cuff strippers with their arms out like this, like, ma'am.
Yeah. She's like, I have my own.
Oh man,
dude, it'd be so cool if they ended up like reconciling and having like a cops versus Fuego department softball game in the spring.
So one of the few times I took shrooms, and one of the reasons I don't anymore, about 40 minutes into the after I ate the bag, my mom sent a text message announcing her surprise marriage
pregnancy?
to my surprise marriage to my stepdad.
Oh no.
It's like literally like right as I'm watching moss pulsate on the log, and I'm like sitting there like watching the moss go whoom, wah, 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 and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, it's happening,
dude.
And
whomping out like that.
And then I get a text message like, oh, so that's also happening.
Damn.
Wait a second. Hang on. And like, and I just couldn't reconcile the two things, like, oh, at all. And so like, and I was like, and now we're on this train for 8 hours.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
8 hours.
I'm sorry. It's my favorite. I'm going to do them again tomorrow night. Just
Yeah,
watch
I
some
just
YouTube.
can't.
I think I'm gonna have a strict no fugging policy on mushrooms from now on, though, because I feel like
yeah?
it took away from the the trip. Actually, no, that's a lie, because the nut was so crazy that I tried to get away. I tried to escape.
It was like
It's like a loose fire hose.
Or I
Yeah.
would imagine.
Dude, I tried to squirm out. I was like, man, but never again, dude.
You could just feel your spinal fluid leaving. It was just
yeah. Yeah, sorry.
that was it. That was like most of me.
Sorry about all that gray stuff.
Some of that's brain matter.
Yeah, dude. I'm trying to get womped out again. That was we knew it would hit because I was like, "Are you feeling it yet?" She was like, "Everything feels like it's wompy, like womp 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 womp." I was like, "All right, tight." Damn, I'm doing it again tomorrow night. And then all this made me realize that I would just love to be able to drink wine every once in a while. So I think I'm gonna. I thought about ordering like $80 worth of wine on the internet today. I don't know.
Getting good wine drunk is great, but man, that fucking headache the next day sucks.
Yeah,
I get a fucking killer headache.
I would do mushrooms every day if they didn't wear off.
Oh boy, when you were talking about microdosing on them, the way you talked about it reminded me for real of like when I took antidepressants for a while and like got the exact right dose and like got like everything. I was like, shit, this is exactly it. Like this is I'm like the problems didn't go away. But like everything just feels like I can actually deal with this shit now.
That was exactly my impression of it. Having like watched people nail down a dosage on an antidepressant, I was like, that's what I am looking for. Didn't think it was even possible. I was like, yeah, I'll do mushrooms every single day.
Yeah.
You don't feel anything from them. You don't get high or anything.
Yeah.
Someone on the we live streamed earlier this week just to like interface with the boys and go over like, you know, any questions anyone has. And someone had asked me about the microdosing. Microdosing, I didn't get high on them ever. Maybe like a complicated carpet pattern would get a little bit wompy on me. But yeah, that's a great way to describe it. It's like a perfect, it's like the right antidepressant and the perfect dosage.
Yeah.
And it lasts.
It's amazing how much, I mean, because it's, and I don't know if it would work for everybody, but I'm glad it worked for you. But it's like, it's so good that it's, because it's so weird, like with antidepressants and everything, like they don't really like even doctors was like, I don't know, we'll try this because it works for some people. And then like the way to find out if it works for you is we just fucking try it. And then like, nope, that didn't work. All right, let's try this other one. And then like, that didn't work. All right, we'll try this one. Like, yeah, that's the one for you. Well, like there's like no way.
Mary Jo's doctor, when we went, they actually go into their office and they just have a giant, what was it called? Price is Right wheel.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's also, they're more like, well, we're getting kickbacks from this company.
True.
So we're going to give you.
Well, some of them are like
first.
bigger than others, like some of the targets.
Yeah.
I guess that's more like Wheel of Fortune. But yeah, the main reason I've never done antidepressants is if I ever had like an erectile side effect, I would kill myself on the spot. Like that. I wouldn't wait for it to pass. It's just like, this is the end. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah.
The last time I took antidepressants like that was a real thing. It just takes away any kind of like, it was just nothingness. You didn't feel bad. I didn't feel bad anymore, but there was nothing. It was like no real joy, no real sadness. It was like, all right, well, I guess this is better for a little bit, but long term, this is not something I want to experience.
Sounds like you didn't have the right dose.
And for the record too, like when Price is Right, on Price is Right, when they're determining patient dosages, that's why the people are yelling out, higher, lower, lower. It's like, all right, we're going with 5 milligrams.
Yeah, man. I actually had a dog reach out to me this week on Instagram. Actually, almost every week someone reaches out and they're like, hey, I like your podcast. I'm struggling with addiction. And I'm like, wow, man.
That's awesome. I mean, not the addiction,
dude,
but that's good.
I was like, what do you do? Heroin? That rules.
I would be terrible at what you guys do. You know what? I'm just gonna let you guys handle this. Never mind. I'm gonna take a step back. I don't know.
You just put the win in heroin.
Yeah. Somehow I work in mental health, and I don't know.
Well, that's exactly why I was bringing it up. I was like, oh, great, we have a perfect, a perfect guest to talk about this.
You Oh, you do drugs? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell me how cool they are.
Oh, cool. Your addiction led you to messaging a retarded IT guy? Terrific.
No, I mean it's fantastic that you guys are dealing with seriously. I was talking with Mike earlier. The positive stuff you guys are doing it's so fucking cool.
It's
I
fun.
fucking love it.
Thank you, James.
It's
But
gratifying.
going back to the addiction stuff. I was talking with a guy today about who recently got sober, and one of the things that we discussed that nobody ever told me about, like when I stopped drinking, was that it might not get to a point where you feel good about what you're doing. And a lot of times there's no magical breakthroughs or anything like that. It's just like you have clarity to address life, which in often cases is fucking terrifying. And when you deal with people in recovery, oftentimes it's like they have these monumental breakthroughs and everything's wonderful. It's not the case. It's just you're not making fucking embarrassing mistakes constantly. And I think that should be reinforced to anybody who's trying to get sober is, yeah, your life's going to improve, but you're also going to get butt fucked with reality pretty hard.
I want to combine a couple of things here. So one of the more recent messages I was going back and forth with was it was someone who, do you remember when Spade said something about like bringing your past self with you? Remember that?
Yeah.
We were talking about like not just like jettisoning like old versions of yourself, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, I can't get into that because I've done horrible things, or I don't know if he said I've done like the negative attachment he had to what he sees as like his past self, where it was like either I've done horrible things or I have horrible memories or horrible, hypothetically, horrible things were done to you. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of relate to that, where it's like, number one, there's large patches of my youth and childhood I have no recollection of, and I'm not interested in trying to remember them. And, but at the same time, it's like I can very vividly remember periods of my life as like a young adult where I was just in pain, and I don't want to forget that because that's sort of like rocket fuel for not fucking up. You know what I mean? Mike, you're someone who I hold up as like a model of just that fucking neutral thinking, where you're so able to share those dark times, and you make it funny. Obviously that's a talent, that's a gift, that's maybe the rarest. And I wanted to bring this message to you and like see if you could maybe talk a little bit about like what do you do with it? How do you compartmentalize the parts of your brain where you're either remembering in first person or like more like a narrative when you're remembering like the shitty things that you did? Or not shitty things that you did, or just like the shitty feelings that you went through that you might be inclined to leave behind.
Dude, like going back to like that conversation with Spud Tim, when I mentioned to him that, one of the ways that like I'm trying to like work past that shit, because I feel like the times where I felt the most fucked up in life were as a kid, because I didn't have any guidance. I was, processing the world with no tools. And I was just anxious all the time. I was scared of everything. I didn't progress anywhere. And oftentimes I was constantly told that I was a well-behaved boy. But the reality was like I was just terrified of the world. So I just fucking sat there with my hands in my lap, didn't leave the house, fucking ate ham like I was paid to do it, and just fucking didn't do anything. So one of the things that has been helpful in regards to kind of not compartmentalizing those times, but kind of coming to peace with those times where shit was the most fucked up, is visualizing that version of yourself next to you in everything that you do. For instance, I felt like an afterthought a lot of the times when I was a kid. So anytime I'm doing something constructive, it's like I will literally picture my little self next to me doing something constructive. So it's as though like I'm spending time with that version of myself. And to me, like that's helpful. And it does make me feel better about that shit, because I still have animosity about it, because like, when you're viewed as an afterthought, it's like not only do you develop low self-esteem, but it's like you really get into some dangerous waters in regards to fucking self-worth. And you wonder if, does anybody care? Does anybody love me? Where it's like you look back and see like There was nobody telling me, look, you have to do this. There's going to be growing pains when you do this. It's going to suck, but you have to do this. There was none of that. It was just being left to my own devices 24/7. And just, I really fucking dealt with the repercussions of it throughout my 20s and into my 30s before I was able to really get a grip on shit. So I think just recognizing how fucked up that shit was, and I don't think it's healthy to try to think of really dig deep in the shit, but just recognizing that version of yourself that didn't get what you needed at that specific time, and just, you know, being respectful of, because a lot of times, like, if things are happening to you or you're doing fucked up shit, it's not through any fault of your own. It's that you just don't have the tools at that time to fucking handle it in a productive way.
So, do you just say that, like, when do you not hold yourself accountable for the fucked up things that you did?
To a degree, like I do, in regards to, like, I think once I got into like my mid 20s and 30s, like, that's all me, because at that point I've been exposed to enough of life to know the difference between right and wrong, and what I should and should not be doing. But up until, I would say, like, early 20s, like, you know, I really, if I did something fucked up, it's I really did not have the tools to recognize how fucked up something might have been, or recognize the repercussions, or how that might have affected someone else. But I would say from like early 20s on, it's like, you know, it's shit that, like, and luckily, like, I never did anything that was, you know, had catastrophic impact on somebody else. You know, I just got lucky, because, you know, I've done a lot of fucked up shit, through nothing malicious, but just in the course of just doing fucked up shit. And a lot of it was related to addiction. But that is something that I feel as though, like, it's like, yes. And that's like right now with what I'm doing with not engaging in that behavior anymore. It's like, I'll have exactly 3 months sober in like 2 weeks. And during that time, during that 3 years, is when, like, I've been able, thank you. And like during that time, like, it's like sifting through ashes. And it's, you know, a lot of it was just begrudging. There was a lot of like negotiation at first, and it was like, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
I have a question. And
Yeah.
actually, I wanted to ask you this, Mike, and then James, since you work in mental health, I wanted to see if you had any input in this. And I don't have a joke for any of this, so maybe we'll who gives a who fucking cares, Mike. I talked about trying to fight cops with a boner for 35 minutes. Can I please
This is why I
just
love
fucking
this. But this is why I
indulge
love this. This is why I love this podcast, though. It's because, like, you know, it's the Tyler Perry movie of podcasts. You know, you can just like go through, and you know, you can laugh and you can cry. You can get a little closer to God.
So Mike,
Yeah, we go for boners to loners in like a finger snap.
so I wonder if this would be helpful or if this is useless. But all right, so eventually, even though you understand that there are like, there's mitigating circumstances, right? You didn't have complete faculties or whatever like that, or you didn't have the awareness, or you weren't taught certain things. You know what I mean? You're not excusing yourself for transgressions, but they happened, and at the time of them, you didn't understand the impact or maybe, you know, the degree, right? So when you finally eventually are aware of it, does it hit you all? What does it catch up to you? Does it hit you all at once, or is it something that, like, you've also got the clarity to process it then? And after that, James, is that anything that you've like learned about or dealt with, just like academically, or because I know that you did kill that lady. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
He told her to
she
take
fucking,
20 Klonopin.
Yeah, she fucking had it coming, so I have no regrets. No, I mean, the thing that I'm thinking is it's more about like the stuff that you've done in the past. Like if thinking about it is holding you back from making growth, then let it go, at least for now. And if that's how you have to think about it, then think like, yeah, I'm letting it go, and we can come back and address it later, or maybe not at all. But if it's stopping you from making growth, then yeah, put it away. And that's the most important thing, is for you to go ahead and make the growth now, and then maybe you'll be able to come back and address it at a different point.
I mean, it sounds so obvious hearing you say it like that, but I mean, we're never taught to grow.
Right. But it is, if you can go back and you can, I mean, if you have to, the hard part is sometimes you have to address things as part of, like, that's the next step of the growth. And that can be really difficult if it's part of repairing a relationship with somebody, and it's just difficult. And it's if you've done something really terrible, and sometimes the answer is just other people don't want to forgive. Other people are dealing with their other shit and they can't forgive. And you have to, there are other factors in play here that aren't just you. It's not just about what you're going through. It's also about how the other person is going to receive this information too. So there's a whole lot going on. It's not just about what you're dealing with. The hardest part about my job, I work with special needs adults, and the hardest part about my job is not really the clients that I work with. It's the family structure. It's like dealing with every other part of it. That's the hardest part, because it's all that's way more complex. The guys that I work with are really direct, and it's refreshing. And I'm like, I got to do more of that shit in my life, just being more direct. So but when it comes to dealing with all of this stuff, I would just say, like, if you can't put it behind, if bringing that stuff along with you right now is just too much, then don't for now, and then come back and address it later. That would be my advice to your buddy.
Oh man, thank you for that. And also, I mean, let me reiterate, James, this stuff, Hesky does this for retarded people. So if this doesn't work for you, there is something wrong with you.
Yeah, you guys might be able to get check.
Yeah, and I can bill for this time.
That's so fucking funny.
I'm billing for this podcast.
Go ahead, dude. My fucking idiot family will fuck it up. Don't worry about it. That's so funny. You have such a unique and like rewarding job, but it's just like every other job where you're like, I'd enjoy it if it weren't for everything else about it outside of the actual work I do.
I was telling Mike earlier, I do actually, like, I think as much as one can enjoy their job, I do actually enjoy my job. Like, which is weird for like a comedian position for a comedian to be in. Like, I enjoy, like, I don't hate what I do for a living. And like, I there are parts of it where I know, like, I've talked with you guys where I'm just like, there's just days where you're just like, man, I fucking hate so much about, whatever is just driving me nuts about work today. But but that's part of any job, but it's also going to exist if I get a job in a career in comedy, where it's not like that all that shit goes away. Like, we
probably
know
more retarded in comedy.
Right. We know people who are crushing it in comedy and they are still putting holes in walls. Like, this is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, this is, so it's the same, I don't know. We're all just doing stuff to try to sort of keep our mind occupied until we die. So that's,
and just to backtrack for a minute, I've been thinking about it on some things since the conversation was progressing, and I have done a lot of fucked up shit. So I just didn't kill anybody. Let me clarify that. I think that, that,
right.
Nobody was murdered, but aside from that, I've done pretty much every awful thing that a person can do. And I think it's important to definitely recognize that shit, whether or not it's not like deflecting blame, but it's like trying to look at your behavior from a problem solving perspective. Like, if you were to view another person having very specific non-conducive behaviors, to say, like, all right, what is causing this? And just like try to outline everything. It's like, okay, what are the contributing factors chemically? What are the contributing factors from a relationship perspective? It's like, what can we eliminate to produce a better result behaviorally? And I think that's part of the approach that you have to have. Like, it all comes through. It's all fucking trial and error, like all this shit. And going back to, like, you saying how fulfilling your work is, James, just changing gears a little bit. I was lucky enough to have a conversation with one of the dogs today. Shout out to Zach Thiessen, who did something really kind for another fucking listener. And the crux of that conversation was that, one of the few absolute joys in life is through service to others. Mm-hmm. And I think in any capacity, anytime you could dedicate yourself to that, that's when you're going to find fulfillment. That's when you're going to find a lot of resolution to your problems. And also, service to yourself as well, because I think that can get overlooked. Because a lot of people, James and I do the same kind of work. There's a lot of fucking martyrs in this profession. Not everybody is doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. Like
God,
people
so many
like
fucking
to
dildos.
fucking live that fucking yeah. No, but people love to live that fucking martyr role. It's like, yes, I'm taking on all this, all this responsibility to take care of people. But it's like, even though those are few and far between, and I think most people
I
that do this
also
line of work
sometimes
really want to.
literally get paid to go to a movie. Like I'll be on the clock and like going to see Frozen, and I'm like, all right, cool, that was great. I got paid to see The Incredibles too. Like sometimes the world like works like it's a great job, and like the guys are like also really cool. Like I care about them. Like it's fun. Like they do cool shit. We go to museums. We go to like parks and stuff like that. I'm like, this is fun.
That's what they should.
James, those are great
Go ahead, Mike,
opportunities.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like, James, like those situations are great opportunities. Like, for example, like if you're sitting there watching Frozen, you have time to digest your problems and just think to yourself, man, maybe it's best if I just let it go.
I love movies, right? And I hate every award ever given to them. But if you swapped out the Academy with just retarded guys, that would be the first award show I ever watched front to back. Let them pick, let them present. That would, dude, the Special Academy Awards.
Yeah, that'd be great, dude. They show the in memoriam clip, and then a guy comes out. He's like, "We'd like to apologize. 13 of those people are actually still alive." Danny DeVito's not dead. Steve Guttenberger's still alive and well. Mandy Patinkin, aka Stinkin' Patinkin, is still kicking it.
And for the 14th year in a row, Fast and the Furious 3 sweeps.
It would just be like movies that are nothing but just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be the best.
Yeah.
Best foreign film goes to The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh man, there are a few movies I've sat through that I was like, this, like I've turned to like some of the other guys I was working with, and I was like, this still, like, I'm getting paid to watch this movie, and it still isn't worth it. We watched the remake of Overboard. They remade that.
Didn't know that.
Oh my
like,
god!
It was so. I was like, I'm sitting here. I'm like, I was like figuring out how much I got paid to watch Overboard. I'm like, not enough. It was not enough money to make like I'm sitting.
Was
here
it Goldie Hawn in the original?
That sounds right.
Yo, such a good
Guys,
movie, man. Yeah, it was Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell.
Guys, check this out. This time they switched the genders. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
finally,
guys, it's fucking hilarious. It's a guy who falls overboard.
Wow,
it's so fucking funny.
You never see that in movies
because his wife was driving.
Dude, it's so fucking dumb. I hate it. And they made it, and all right. And so anyway, that they made it, and they somehow, yeah, my spec script can't get anything. All right. Now I need a Klonopin and a popsicle
Did you
in the shower.
like during a movie like that? Do you lean over to the retarded guys like, listen, dude, we should just watch the original. Goldie Hawn's tits are so fucking cool.
Yeah, you could do this job. You know. Yeah, no. I just after like, so did you like the movie? And they go, yeah. And I'm like, oh boy, all right, we'll work on it. We'll get there.
Dude, my 9-year-old finally got into real video games. Like, he never plays any real video games. He doesn't like Fortnite. He doesn't like anything. Not that Fortnite's real. He's like below Fortnite in video games. He only plays this game called Roblox, which is like fake Minecraft, but with like you could spend real money on it, and kids are obsessed with it. And he finally started a real video game because Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, and one of the main ladies in it is just unbelievably hot. Maybe the hottest artificial human of all time. And,
oh man!
Yeah, and like 5 or 6 hours into the game, he was like, "Hey, you think I could start my own save file in this?" I was like, "Sure, buddy." So now I just sit with him and he plays Final Fantasy VII Remake, the first real game he's ever shown an interest in, and I just know, like, I'm like, I wish he's just too young. I can't be like, bro, those are rockin' tits.
Ah, boy. If they had like realistic tits when like in video games when we were growing up, that would have been
Or I couldn't have
I
spurred
never-
out any harder, but I would have found a way.
Yeah, I would not have ever gotten any sun.
Dude, when Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out, man, and Jessica Rabbit might be the most attractive cartoon character of all time, but I went to see that with my family, and that was a tough boner to hide.
Wow, you were older than me. You were probably closer to coming.
Dude, I was I think that came out in 1988 or 89, so I was about 10.
Man, did you let
So
one fly?
the storm clouds were just starting to roll in.
Yeah.
No, man. Dude, it's I think not till I was like 12.
I still remember that first
let
time.
it simmer.
I still remember the first time I nutted, and just like being like, "Oh,
I can't believe I'm getting paid to see Frozen."
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, yeah.
I'd be like,
So the clouds parted.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, this is the thing. This is the thing. It's happening, and then it happened, and then I was like, just using way too many paper towels, and like you're just like, what am I like cleaning up like a fucking drunk busboy, like trying to like handle like his situation.
Dude, our buddy Spade was on. Apparently, he thought you could just shoot it into a carpet and like he would like mash it in with his foot. Didn't know. And this went on forever, bro.
How come our house is slowly starting to smell like a YMCA pool?
Just turning your carpet into like the sharp side of Velcro. Ew,
oh
gross.
man, yeah. I cut my my knee up pretty badly on the carpet the other day. Anybody know how that happened?
Got tug burns.
Dude, Mike,
what
the fuck?
You're a playing legend, man.
How did you do that? Tug burns.
Ain't too much, man.
Oh, boy.
I don't believe you, dude. That's where I want to cut over to the Patreon. I just
All right,
decided
let's do it, man.
we're cutting over a tug
that
burns.
works.
Perfect. and we've got a name for the episode.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
Also sounds like the name of a dude that your girlfriend would leave you for. It's like, Mike, I'd like you to meet Tug Burns. It's like, fuck, this guy's everything I'm not.
Got a cool ass jacket.
Oh my god.
He's got a boat. Comes from a good family. They all speak to each other.
Dick like a rhino. All right, gang. Thanks for listening. We're going to continue this over on the Patreon. I think it's patreon.com/dabmeat podcast. I don't know. Just fucking search for Dad Meat on Patreon. I'm sick of telling you guys.
It is. It's patreon.com /dadmeat podcast. And also, I just want to remind everybody, if you go to bluechew.com and use promo code FATBIRD, they'll give you free samples. The only thing you got to do is pay $5 for shipping. It's an awesome product. Tim and I both use it. We love it. Treat your bird. Promo code FATBIRD.
Yeah, you're going to find your own cops and Latina strippers to fight. But again, James Hesky, thanks for being with us. You're going to stick with us for Patreon,
thanks.
right?
Oh, hell yeah. I'm around.
Fuck yeah. All right, dogs. See you over there. Love you.
Love you guys.
I like you.
I like you guys. Hey, listen, I'm going to take a leak, guys. I'll be right back.
All right.
Yeah, I am too.
All right. I'm going to
That
hang
was
around
fun.
with the YouTube chat for a minute. Yo, what's up, dogs in the YouTube? Anyone still in here? It'd be pretty embarrassing if I just said that and then there was no one in here. Happy Friday, Fiscaro. Dude, I talk to you every day. I think I talk to you more than most people in my real life. Although that's classic behavior with me. Yo, what up, Tyler? I don't know if we'll be live on the Patreon. Maybe I can. I don't know. Deep Calm, what up? I saw Shaft in there earlier. Mose, what's up? Fucking, you believe Rainey hitting that fucking buzzer beater with Tug Burns? Jeez Louise. I can't stand it. God damn. This is pretty cool. This is a pretty cool format, right? Yo, what up, Bachner? Chris, what the fuck's up? Yeah, I don't know if we'll do the live Patreon, but I did just want to recognize that I had the YouTube up on my second screen the whole time, and I saw the dogs popping off in the chat, and I just wanted to recognize you boys. What's Crowdcast? Let me see that. I actually think we can go live through Vimeo on the Patreon. Crowdcast Discover. All right, I'll figure that out. Was anyone here for the little mini live stream that we did earlier this week? We want to do more of that. Damn. Trevor's message was retracted. It was probably extremely racist. All right, let me tight. Yeah, the program shit. I think the program mini live stream that we did was what generated some of the legitimate questions that we got over the week. So I was hoping.
Oh. Wait, what was going on?
Oh, hey James, I'm sorry. I'm just bullshitting with the
No, you're good.
The dogs and the bubs in the YouTube live chat.
Yeah, do it.
Sick. All right. Well, it's a perfect excuse to just fuck off on my lunchtime working remotely. All right. Let me see if I can figure out a live Vimeo situation on the Patreon right now before Mike gets back, and I will see all you dogs later. Thanks for hanging out live. Love you, boys.